One of the things that I found was an article in The Ringer by Nora Princiati. And on The Ringer, they actually still have good writers. A lot of places, they don't care anymore. They just want you to click on stuff. But they write really good stuff. And so this is a somewhat Aaron Rodgers intensive article, but then it goes to a lot of different places. And she says the story of the 2021 offseason was of a relationship gone sour, and goes over Aaron Rodgers' offseason with Green Bay and tracks it all the way back to after they had picked Jordan Love, the quarterback, in the first round, that the Packers GM, Brian Gutekunst, said, I haven't connected with Aaron yet. And like, that's the beginning.
Yeah.
Is not communicating with players about what's going on. And so now Aaron Rodgers hates you. And she went around the league and talked to a lot of people, a league source who works in personnel, who says, I've worked in 3 places. Communication was never great. Former GM Randy Mueller says, yeah, these teams are supposed to be the best in the world at what they do, but we still have junior high communication levels at times. And the gist of the article is that now that we have your football guys and your tape scout guys and your analytic guys and maybe not clearly defined roles throughout organizations, hell, we just saw it with the Dallas Mavericks, that some of the best run organizations don't have this. Like what happened to the Eagles when they drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round, and then their GM said, yeah, we want to be a quarterback factory. Well, he hurt his starting quarterback's feelings, and his starting quarterback, where it's like, you want to say, oh, whatever, toughen up, who cares, go to work and get it done. But the reality is that everybody's human, and we have a lot of instances around the NFL where the biggest problem was literally people not being able to communicate with each other. We saw it with this Cowboys defense a year ago. They obviously didn't communicate well in Zoom to get ready to play football. They didn't communicate well in the field. Something was lost somewhere. And for me, I think this organization, we put a lot of faith in Will McClay for the communication to happen from Jerry, Steven, to coaches, to scouts.
The triangle.
And I think we're going to be putting a lot of faith in Dan Quinn that you're going to fix there was no communication on defense. So I think this article just resonated with me, whether it's just front office or if it's throughout an organization, how important that is. And it's one of the trump cards in the NFL now, is that the well-run organizations, there's a clear delineation of who does what. There's not he runs the numbers and I have to answer to the owner after the game about the numbers guy, and like all of this stuff that just leads to clutter and not the best football. How do you think the Cowboys would rate in that regard now? There's always going to be a weird thing with Jerry at the top. Like, that's a given.
Yeah, I think when the Cowboys, if you're talking about them, I think that just what you said, I think Will McClay, he described it to me as that triangle where he's got the Joneses at the top of the point, and then one of the corners is the coaches, and then the other corner is the scouts. And he has to make sure that when there's issues to be talked about, that everybody has their say at the table. That's a responsibility he has. But you will also find, and this is my personal experience too, this happened to me in Philadelphia when I was with the Eagles. I had to beg the coaches to help me. I had to beg them. I mean, Emmett Thomas, Hall of Famer, Joe Witt, different Joe Witt, but linebackers coach, he got caught with Sean Payton and those guys down there in the bounty stuff. Mike Turgavec, those guys did not talk to Mike Lombardi and I the whole season because they thought we were brought there because the football operations director, Dick Daniels, they thought that we were brought there to get Dick fired. And so they didn't talk to us at all the whole year. I mean, we would go.
And so you are trying to prepare for an offseason to get ready to improve the team.
I was trying to get ready for a draft that I had. There were 8 scouts, 4 of them quit when I took over.
I would quit if you were my boss.
Yeah, but they quit. They just flat quit. They said, I'm not going to work for you. That's it. So that's the problems you run into. But I think the Cowboys, depending on who you talk to, there's organizations that will say, listen, it doesn't matter what we think in personnel. These are scouts talking. It doesn't matter what we think in personnel. Coaches are going to pick who they want. They're going to keep who they want. We just go do our jobs. That's it. And I think that's unfortunate. I think that's the part of it because, like I said, I had to go to Emmett Thomas, who was a senior leader, defensive coordinator at the Eagles. I went to his office, and he looked at me. I I walked in there. I said, "Hey, do you have a minute?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Can I please sit down?" And for the next 30 minutes, I spilled my guts about what we had to do. And he spilled his guts like, "Listen, I don't trust you. I don't trust Lombardi. I don't, but we had that out.
And that's the secret.
That's the secret.
That's the secret.
Yeah. It's like,
because I bet from that day forward, something changed.
He from that conversation. And I think that's why I appreciate people that have the ability to confront problem and not just, hold it and keep it and then talk amongst other friends.
If you confront problem tends to go away.
It does. It really does. And I totally admire people that aren't afraid to walk in there and say, we got problems. And if you don't want to address them, I will. And I think that happens a lot in the NFL. I think it happens a lot in professional sports, that guys and gals are worried about, well, why was this guy brought in? And what's he doing? And why does he have this position? And this gal's no good at her job. And
go ask him.
Yeah, go ask him. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so I thought it was a really cool article. It wasn't necessarily about the Cowboys, but it was about
communication is a problem.
The best organizations in football tend to have that worked out. There's not this guy hates this guy and this guy doesn't want to teach this guy and this guy. And so with the new defensive coordinator, we are hoping that we have a good communicator that at least in that part of the building can make them play better football.
Absolutely.